looks like a marmalade, that's honey. From bees. Yes, bees make honey. But what's also special that they give fruit, yes, pollen and nectar to the flowers, which makes this fruit. And this example is called rice wash. This is our garden. And look, over here is one bee. It's collecting nectar. There's one up there, but the camera is too high to show you. These bees are taking pollen from a flower, and then they'll put it on other flowers, whatever the species is same or not. And some flowers will become to fruit. Cloth. In spring, it becomes a flower. Well, yes, it becomes a flower. But in the summer, it becomes this. Yes, in the spring, bees give pollen to it so it can make more fruit. Ah, look at it. Look at this thing. Very good to go in the great outdoors for plants. Plants is really important to the great outdoors. If there's no plants, food chains won't be formed, and we will be carnivores, and yes, that's really important. I am in the garden, and now let us read The Blue Bee by Kate Briggs. Honeybees. Honeybees are insects. Insects have 6 legs and 1 or 2 pairs of wings. Bees have just 1 pair of wings. Their wings and legs are connected to the part of their body called the thorax. This is the head, this is the thorax, and this is the abdomen, where they poop. Bees live together in large groups called colonies. There can be as many as 50,000 bees in the colony. Each colony lives in a hive or nest. In the wild, bees usually make their nests in hollow trees. Sometimes they nest in caves or between rocks too. They make their nest in even anything, sometimes by their own and other times in other wood sources by humans, like the Mason Elementary workspace recess area. This bee colony built a hive in a gap in a rotted tree. There was 1 queen bee in every colony. All the other female bees are called worker bees. All the male bees are called drones. There are many more worker bees than drones. Worker bees eat a lot of honey to make beeswax. The wax comes from 4 glands under each bee's abdomen. The workers use the wax to make honeycombs. Drones mate with the queen bee so that she can lay eggs. Then the drones die. Honeycombs are where the queen bee lays her eggs. The queen is the only bee that can lay her eggs. She can lay up to 2,000 eggs in a day. A worker bee has a sharp, pointed body part called a stinger they can hurt people or their animals. The worker bees group together to warm up the hive. The queen lays her eggs. Beehives need to be 93 degrees Fahrenheit, 34 degrees Celsius at all times. Bees are cold-blooded. Many animals are cold-blooded, so this means they cannot keep their bodies warm if the temperature around them is not also warm. Young worker bees are they're sometimes called house bees because they stay in the hive until adult. Each tiny bee egg attaches to the bottom of a honeycomb cell. As soon as it is laid, the egg starts to change. Inside, a bee larvae is growing. The egg hatches after 3 days, and the bee larva crawls out. The larva is white in color and about as long as a grain of rice. It has no wings, legs, or eyes. It has only a mouth. A bee larva looks more tiny worm than an insect. A bee egg is very small. It is about the size of a head on a pin. Royal jelly. This small larva floats on a pool called royal jelly in the cell. Worker bees feed royal jelly to the larvae. A large beehive can have as many as 10,000 larvae grown in it. Most of the larvae will become worker bees. A hive needs many worker bees. Feeding and growing. A bee uses part of its back legs called the pollen basket to collect the pollen, just like a carrier plane where it has a tiny little crane on the end to carry a plane to carry something without using the inside of it. The worker bees feed larvae to the larvae about 3 days. Then they start giving the larvae honey and pollen from flowers instead. The workers feed the larvae more than 1,000 times a day. For the next 5 or 6 days, the larvae grows bigger and bigger. It sheds its skin 5 times as its body gets bigger. Sometimes people grow bee larvae in a lab to study them. Fully grown larvae. The larvae is full grown 8 days, which is 1 week and a day. After it hatches, it is so big that it fills the cell and mouth faces the cell entrance, but the larvae does not need any more food. The workers close the cell with a cap of wax. The cap lets some air through. This helps the larvae breathe. Some of the cells in this hive have a white, waxy cap on them. Yes, you know that. When the cell is sealed, the larva starts to change into a pupa, or cocoon, or chrysalis. Pupa is the scientific word of cocoon or chrysalis. It's like a butterfly or any other type of bugs, except grasshoppers or dragonflies or even flies. In days, the larva sheds its skin again. This will be the last time. Underneath the old skin is a pupa inside a pupal case. At first, the pupa looks like a soft bee without wings. Most of the hive's pupa grow to worker bees for the next 10 days. Drones take a few days longer. A new bee. 2 antennae stick out of a bee's head. They help the bee touch, taste, and smell. They're like a hand. By day 10, the pupa changes color. Its eyes are dark, and it has wings now. The pupa chews its way to the cap and out the cell. It leaves the pupal case behind. The new worker bee's body is still soft, and the wings are squashed. After a day, its body hardens and its wings straighten out. Now it can fly. After bee wings harden, they can beat 400 to 400 times per minute. Working hard, bees can live for only 1 summer. So if a worker bee is born in the summer, it lives only about 6 weeks. For the first 3 weeks, then the 5. Comb cells queen. Also, With the queen, the larva, and the drones. Worker start living the hive when 3 to 4 weeks old. They eat a lot of honey before they leave. This gives them energy to fly around looking for pollen and nectar in flowers. A bee gathers pollen from the flower called the stamen. You know, the center of flowers? The bee shown in the middle are the workers. And the worker bees tell the young bee where to find food. They dance in front of the bee. The movements in the dance tell the bee where it needs to go. Bees fly to many different flowers on warm, sunny days, like sign language. The worker bee collects pollen on its back legs to take back to the hive. It also carries pollen to one flower from another. When the bee lands on a flower and pollinates the flower, now the flower can form seeds. Bees have 2 stomachs. One is just for collecting nectar.
A bee gets nectar from 100 to 1,500 flowers to fill up its honey stomach. Then it goes back to the hive.
Wow, so interesting that they have 2 stomachs. Other worker bees take the nectar and chew for about 30 minutes. Then they store it in empty honeycomb cells. The nectar dries to a thick syrup. It becomes honey. When the cell is full, worker bees seal it with wax. The death of a queen. A queen bee grows in a cell and hangs from the honeycomb and is called a queen cup. The workers feed the queen bee so she can keep laying eggs. She lays fewer eggs as she gets older. A queen bee lives only for 2 years. When she is ready to die, she raises an egg in the larger cell. The workers feed only raw jelly to the larva in that cell. This larva will become the hive's next queen. A skilled queen cup can be large. It gives the bigger queen room to grow. Here was the life cycle. The queen bee raises eggs in the honeycomb cell. A larva begins growing in the egg. The larva hatches from the egg in 3 days. The larva stretches skin 5 times. At 8 days, the larva is full grown. The larva changes people 11 days old. Poop back of the bigger worker bee. The worker bee leaves the hive when it's 3 weeks old. After about 3 weeks, the worker bee dies. The end. Now, if you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I will see you next week. Bye!